Certainly, and a lot of embarrassment amongst the pollsters who've been remarkably consistent in their findings. Leads between 25 and 30 points for Liz Truss above Rishi Sunak. That's the kind of margin that it's very, very tricky to be out by. Most polls operate within a margin of error of around 2 to 3%, and sometimes the upsets that we've seen in the polls over the last decade or so have been within that margin. So not the biggest surprises in the world. It would be the most remarkable error of all of these different individual polling companies to all have made the same mistake for these sort of polls to be out by 25 or 30 points. Frankly, it's overwhelmingly likely that at 12:30 today, Liz Truss becomes the next leader of the Conservative Party, and then tomorrow becomes the Prime Minister, of course, having to fly up to Balmoral to kiss hands with the Queen and then fly back down here tomorrow afternoon, where Liz Truss will make her first speech from the steps of Downing Street as Prime Minister. That's if the leadership election goes as we have expected it to go. It's been a long 8 weeks, as you rightly mention, and of course voting closed finally at 5 p.m. on Friday. Just a few hours now to go to find out who has won, and then following that, a flurry of activity in this street. Prime Minister Boris Johnson tomorrow morning expected to mark his last speech as Prime Minister before heading up to Balmoral. And of course, Liz Truss making her first speech as Prime Minister tomorrow afternoon. Following that, cabinet appointments. And Liz Truss has been scheming in terms of who will be going into her cabinet. She's been having meetings at Chevening, at the Foreign Secretary's official residence, and it does look like one of her closest allies in Parliament, entered Parliament with her in 2010, has been a close ally for the last few years. They even wrote a book together at one point. Kwasi Kwarteng is expected to become Liz Truss's Chancellor, so it might well be that he's moving into number 11 a little bit later this week. When it comes to the other great offices of state, it seems that the Foreign Secretary role is widely tipped to go to James Cleverly, currently the Education Secretary. He served as a minister in the Foreign Office under Liz Truss, an early backer of Liz Truss, a close ally ideologically as well, seen on the more Thatcherite right of the party. And then when it comes to the Home Secretary role, it looks like Priti Patel will lose out to Suella Braverman, currently the Attorney General, someone who stood to be leader herself at the start of this contest 2 months ago. It seems like a lot longer than that to some people, but she, of course, then declared for Liz Truss. Crucial in terms of getting some of those European Research Group MPs over to the Liz Truss campaign, a committed Brexiteer, of course. So that's a little bit of a flavour of what we might be expecting tomorrow afternoon, those senior government jobs being settled throughout the evening, and then a cabinet meeting following that on Wednesday morning, and of course Liz Truss's first Prime Minister's questions at noon on Wednesday. It's going to be a busy week.